Yes, people, welcome back to the Daily Football Report. And on today's episode, we're talking about Ruben Amorim and what he had to say about his job, and Manchester United board talking about they're still backing him. We're also talking about Rashford and Anthony, a few things about what's going on with their loans and possibilities. Also, we're talking about Newcastle United and just an issue of, I bet if this happened at Manchester United, the news would be running on it. And also, not only that, but just a few other news about some other things happening in the world of football. So let's jump into it right away. Marcus Rashford gets an assist for Barcelona in a 6-0 win versus Valencia. Obviously, he's either going to be assisting Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, or Lewandowski, the goal scorers as usual. So he literally had an assist for Rafinha in a 6-0 win, and Marcus Rashford looked real sharp, looking better, looking sharper, looking fitter, making sharper decisions in moments. So it's looking really good. Also, Anthony, on the other side of Spain, another Manchester United player, played 90 minutes for Real Betis in a 2-2 draw against Levante, and he didn't have a goal or assist, but he was very dangerous for them. He played 90 minutes, caused them a lot of trouble, was involved in a lot of very good plays for Real Betis. So it's good. It's looking good for both players who are on loans for United, and we need possible transfers for them. Also, on the other side of talking about United players, we saw Garnacho play an integral part in the equalizer for Chelsea. Actually, for Chelsea to take the lead. As we see, Chelsea is in a good momentum at the moment, even if they spent 3 billion on their front line and they couldn't beat Brentford apparently. But people need to stop using these numbers, because valuation is based on what the club think their player is worth, and not really what the actual player is worth. Because if we have to be putting a monetary transaction on a human being, I think everyone should be worth over $1 trillion. You can't really put money on a human life, but based on the evaluation of the player, based on what the club thinks the player's worth, sometimes they're just a bit more expensive than what you think they should be. Now, Ruben Amorim has been in a bit of trouble for his job. That according to the media, may I say, according to Manchester United, he is still the man for the job. They're backing him 100%, and there's no one they would want in the head of their ship, captain in their ship. And at the end of the day, you have to go with the board members. But my thing is, Ruben Amorim needs to fix a lot of things in the way in which he's going about the way he's managing Manchester United. I don't think he's really taking into consideration that at the end of the day, if it really gets extremely bad for him, they're not going to have any choice but to sack him. But like, sometimes you look at it, you're like, bro, are you trying to get sacked to get this 20 mil? Or like, what's going on? So you have to really worry about him. But there were a lot of reports coming out saying that Manchester United are trying to get rid of Ruben Amorim, and they have already rubbished those rumors, saying that he's still the man for the job. They don't want anyone in place of him, and that's what it is. But then when you look at the players I just mentioned before, Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony, Højlund, they're doing well, and they were sold by this manager. And the thing is, yes, I understand they're going into more established teams. Yes, I understand they're going into teams that have a bit more structure. But at the end of the day, you can't be making these big calls about these players, and you're not on your side fulfilling your job as well, because these players are playing well, so you should be coaching well. You just, that's what the dynamic is calling for you to do, but you're failing the club on that way. But then, talking about Manchester United, let's talk about another United, which is Newcastle United. So apparently Newcastle United had an issue with what they were doing. So they sold a few tickets, apparently, to a group of students. So a school in Scotland, a girls' school in Scotland, bought a certain amount of tickets, Newcastle United, and apparently it was off like a third-party site, and those tickets weren't valid. So Newcastle, instead of giving them those tickets, they put those tickets back onto their website and sold them to actual fans that should have had the ticket because they were in a wait list. Now, my thing is, if this was Manchester United, it would be a massive, massive, massive follow. The media would be running with this, and I just don't understand why the media stayed so quiet with a situation like this, because they don't want to bring up the tickets issue with clubs and tickets, because it's been a big talking point about, clubs and their ticket prices and fans and fan-owned clubs, with a lot of clubs. So they don't really want to raise those sort of questions to be asked. But Newcastle United should have done something to help these little girls out. At the end of the day, these little girls are coming for an opportunity for them to see some of their heroes. And it means more, I think, for a group of these girls to see their heroes and for them to inspire, for them to be footballers or, go after, certain things in life. Instead of you have a fan that is on a wait list who can probably wait again. Like they've been on the wait list for a while. And I understand it's the Barcelona game, so maybe they're worrying about the safety of the children, but this is also Champions League experience that the little girls probably won't have. They're probably long fans of Newcastle United, and I think they should have found a way to work it out. But business is business, and at the end of the day, they did not purchase the tickets from the right platform. So you just have to pay for the repercussions of their actions. But also, you see, this brings about the topic about concessions and certain things that these clubs can do to help out these little girls. Why don't they not have a certain amount of tickets allocated to certain groups like this, where they can then go onto a platform and be able to access these tickets? Why are they? And I'm sure there probably are certain things they can go about, or certain ways they can go about getting these tickets. But I think we need to, as especially these clubs who make all this money, the going to the disabled kids and these things, yeah, it's a good thing. But also, I think when situations like these happens, both clubs should come together to find a way in order to make the situation be better for the little girls, especially when the error is a genuine error and it wasn't out of malice or them trying to scheme the system. Now, this story I'm about to tell you is about the epitome of people thinking that the grass is always greener on the other side. And this is something I always get at Manchester United fans for, because as you know, the situation with Ruben Amorim. But as we've also seen the situation with Chris Wilder at Sheffield United, and them reappointed him just after firing him after last season, after he helped them, yeah. And now they fired him, brought in a new manager cells, and now got rid of that manager cells and went back for Chris Wilder. So yeah, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And also remember, this is key, the stone you reject and refuse is the one you will always go back for. Always remember that. There's just a way in which life works. What goes around comes around. So we have to be aware of all that, and you have to realize that sometimes you just need to go through that spirit of a little bit of hard times and go through learning that your club needs that time to have that hard moment for them to grow. And then yeah, you can then see the benefits of your sacrifice. Now, Thomas Frank, shout out to Thomas Frank, is about to have his first Champions League game ever as a manager. And I think we have to give him a big shout out because he deserves it. I think Thomas Frank has done a lot for himself and has earned this move to this club. I don't think there are a lot of managers out there like Thomas Frank who have stayed as humble as he had, as that level. Have a team where not only did Brentford come into the league thinking that everyone thought they would have been relegated. But he kept them steady, steadied the ship, and had them be a Premier League team with an average of spending like maybe 20 million max every transfer window, 30, 40 million. You know, it's not a lot of money. And they're selling players like Mbomo, and you see them selling players like Wizza for that sort of money. And, you know, Ivan Toney for good money. And it's just amazing to see. And even when Ivan Toney got in the situation, Thomas Frank was not the manager that was, you know, shutting him out or had anything bad to say about him. You know, all that made me respect Thomas Frank when he stood up with Ivan Toney, when he had good things to say about Ivan. I don't know what the private conversations were. He probably called him a dickhead and was like, hey, you stupid fool. But in public, he never made you seem like he just said maybe Ivan had made a mistake and these real good words about it. And you can tell he's like a dad-like figure, but real humble and real hardworking. And I have to respect Thomas Frank, and also I will always respect him because he has an Antiguan on his staff, you know, Cochrane. And you know, at the end of the day, I have to be appreciated that he's helping out one of my fellow nationers to be a great coach and recognized in the Premier League. But yes, people, it's been your boy, always as usual, just bringing you some football news quickly. So also, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Keep hitting the bell for notifications so I can keep bringing you great content going forward. And also look out for the review as we drop that coming out real soon today as the 3 key lessons, because it's going to be really interesting, that video. I have some real good information about what I thought about the game and what I think we could have done. And just a quick 3 lessons for you. So yes, have a good time. Take care. Stay sexy, my people, and always, ciao.